Welcome everyone to another episode of the Musings. My name is Karen and I have my friend Juan here.
Juan right here.
My co-host. Mm-hmm. And today I'm going to be talking a little bit about talking badly about people and how you can do it in a maybe nice way and my own sort of thoughts
straight
on that.
To the face. Okay. Yeah. Just a couple of short notes on getting humbled this week. CrossFit's been humbling me hardcore, so it's been good fun.
Good.
And stress inoculation. We'll talk about some stress inoculation.
Okay. Well, you've got two, so I'll let you go first with one of yours.
I might go with the CrossFit. So some of the learnings from CrossFit has been, first and foremost, that I've enjoyed the... how do I explain this better? I've enjoyed the experience of going to a place with the full knowledge that I am at the bottom of the hierarchy.
Yeah.
Like almost at the complete knowledge. And so having more freedom to just be able to learn or to move in particular ways where I'm not caring that I'm there to be, at the very top of the rung. I'm not the leader there. It's like, no, you're just like the lowly scum that just needs to learn. So it's been good in a couple of ways. So one, so I'll give you an example. When I was going normally for a gym session, and I would try to, let's say, do a clean and jerk at a normal, let's call it normal gyms, like a Good Life or a Fitness First, whatever it may be. I might go, okay, I'll do a clean and jerk and maybe do 100 kilos. And it's like, whoa, that does not happen to normal, open big gyms. And so people are like, oh, man. And I feel like, no, people wouldn't be able to get close to something like this, right? But all of a sudden I go to these gyms, or this CrossFit gym in particular, and that particular lift is just an expectation within the workout of everything else that you're doing. And so when I see that, I go, okay, here's not just me I can work up to this weight. No, this has got to be part of my workout. And it just, it shifts something in my mind to go, okay, I'm no longer doing this solely for even, I'm not doing this to stroke my ego at all. And there might be, in a normal gym, there might be 20-30% of that there. 70% of it is, doing it because I want to improve everything else. But in the CrossFit box, it's 0%. There is just no things I'm doing there that is completely egotistical. So I enjoy that for reminding myself to be humble. It's almost like a forced place to be humble, but I can really feel it, which is good. And then the other one that I mentioned to you through the week is I got my first ring muscle up, right? On one of those big ring muscles.
Boy.
And I actually ended up doing 3 or so. And I showed you this video of one of them that I ended up doing. And the guy was like, what the hell?
It's an amazing video.
What was even better was watching myself do that and feeling myself do the ring muscle up. In normal circumstances, if I'd done that at, I don't know, a normal gym or even outside, I might have been like, oh yeah, I'm the man. I just did a ring muscle up. Oh, this is so cool.
Yeah.
But in that setting, because it was as part of the workout, I did one, I did it, I went down, but I was almost just completely retrospecting on, this is just, how's my movement pattern? How is the movement? How could I improve that? And there wasn't any stroking of ego in the sense of oh yeah, that. Yeah. So it was a very different feeling. I don't know if I felt this way before in a training style, in the way that I've been able to just step back and look at it completely at the improvement level, just for the improvement's sake.
Dude, sounds exactly like that humble episode I was talking about, going to the gymnastics thing. Same thing, me being able to do a decent handstand, most people will be like, wow, that's cool. Regular people come to the park, they say that, wow, that's awesome. But you go there, everyone's good at handstands. There's nothing special about a handstand.
Yep.
Poppy. So that definitely sounds like that feeling. What I wanted to ask
the other, and before I forget though, someone there was doing warm-ups. They were doing L-sit, muscle up, strict muscle ups on rings.
Yeah. So that's baller. That's gangster.
So that's okay, all right.
That's so hard. I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this. One day I want to do this thing, right? So I want to get full splits, right? So full splits, and then being able to do a full splits while hanging on a bar. And, that's really hard because, your legs are sort of, you need to be pulling them right up against gravity.
Gravity's not helping you out here. It's going against you.
Yeah. So you do that, right? And then you do a muscle up while doing a full splits. And so you just go, whoop. And so it would just look like a bar going up and down. That's what it should look like. That's what I would love.
That's what you imagine.
I've never seen a video like that, and I reckon that'd be so fucking cool to do.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I think that would be really cool.
Anyway, so life goal there for Curran.
Yep.
What I want to ask you about, though, was using the ego as part of your training routine. Because for me, I've always really tried to stay away from it, especially while learning handstands. For example, I would intentionally go to parks where I knew no one would be there. Not because I was like afraid of people seeing me and whatnot, but I notice when I'm in a place and there's people watching, there's a little bit extra that goes like, oh, why don't you do that extra little cool move in between sets?
Why don't you do that extra backflip in between the handstands?
That's it. It's things like that. And so, it's good in a way because it motivates you. Yeah. But for me, that's always like, I'm going outside of my routine. I'm doing things for...
I'm unnecessarily exerting energy for other people, not myself.
Exactly. And that always says to me, like, I'm probably going to hurt myself if I keep doing this. So what do you think? What are your thoughts about using the ego and in particular impressing people as a form of like training?
It's a good point. I think it has its time and place. If it actually does help out in the performance. So if I'm talking specifically, let's say fitness, gym related movements, if the ego is helping you out in performing better, then I could see there's some like places where you would use it. Like if for some reason you in a lifting meet, people screaming around you and everyone's like go,
got the boys in the background, go.
And that helps you lift more, then okay. That might be ego, like that might be you being strict in the fact that it's like, oh, everyone's here like supporting me, they're all like, I'm the top dog, I'm gonna do it.
You see this in some of the other gyms as well in a negative way. You motherfucker, like you piece of shit, you can't do this.
It's like, I'll show you.
Yeah.
So there's that level, but when it comes to more of the training side of things, I'd say less so that the ego would be useful. Just because the ego in itself, I guess it has to be energized by external factors, not so much yourself. But can you really internally stroke your own ego? Like, can you do that without external validation or external action?
I wouldn't
say so. So I would say that it would have less of a place when you're just training, and you would try and maybe isolate yourself more in those scenarios to remove that.
You could maybe artificially do it with a camera, for example. So you set up a camera and it's, I'm going to post this to YouTube.
Yeah, or go like Instagram Live or something like that. I would think that would detract, though, in the training setting, because I want to be more precise, much more all of the energy focused on the training session as opposed to letting any
doing
other
something
energy
look cool, for
exactly.
example.
Well, I will say, though, that indeed some of the thing that I've been enjoying about this CrossFit gym is that they do allow you to train outside normal training class area times. And when that happens, there's usually like one or two people at the gym. But I've actually experienced, which is even better, a couple of times when like the people who are there, like staff/trainers, there's only 3 or 4 of them at any one time. And it's normally when there's classes happening. So when there's no classes, they don't really have to be there. So they just leave the gym open. So you can imagine it's a massive warehouse, just open floor, and there's nobody there. It is just me. So I'm just walking around with literally a whole gym to myself. Cool. It's like a whole playground. I was like, this is goddamn cool. Yeah. So, and in some of those days, I've really enjoyed my training.
Yeah, nice. I'm thinking of experimenting with it. So once I've finished this bloody damn running, I'm thinking maybe once a week I'll purposefully go where I know there's going to be lots of people walking past. Maybe, even bring like the Mere Mortal board or something, and change one of the things to say like, Mere Mortals like fitness or something, fitness, meditation and shit like that. Yep. So not only use it as a way to, I suppose, motivate myself to do really cool stuff. So if I'm doing that, man, I want to be working out harder to be like, hey,
so I don't look like a fool.
Yeah. So like if I'm attempting, handstand push-ups, I want to be actually doing them instead of just attempting.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm sort of thinking of playing around in a sense of using it to my advantage. But yeah, I mean, it's just so risky as well. Especially if you're trying to do stuff just to impress people, just to be cool.
Yeah. You're running some issues there.
Yeah. So I'm thinking about it, but I need to think about it a bit more. Potentially. So my main thing here is a bit of a continuation of that episode when we were talking a bit and then we got cut short due to darkness. We're darkness, podcasting in the dark, changing the Mere Mortal name. So
and rain, I'm pretty sure as well.
Yeah, a bit of both. And in that one, we just started to talk about talking shit about other people. And, we're talking about not reading a book, for example, and then doing a review of the book because we're going to say negative things about it. Or if someone's doing something really bad, I usually prefer just not to say anything
at all.
And then using my silence as a way of indicating like I'm not a fan of this. So
my displeasure.
Yeah. So if I listen to, I listen to a bunch of podcasts. I shout them out on Instagram all the time. If I listen to one where I think they're, just really shit, or they're saying ideas which really don't, mix well with me, I just don't shout it out. That's fine.
Yep.
But I'm wondering, is there a place for this? Am I doing a disservice by not doing this? So, for example, I was thinking La Muerte de Artemio Cruz. So the book review I did of the death of Artemio Cruz. I was thinking I should maybe save that. Maybe it should be like I'm allowed to criticize ideas, but not people. So if it's a really shit idea in a podcast, maybe I should be shouting out saying like, I really don't think this idea is great. These are the reasons why XXX, and making sure I'm like, really making sure I'm not including like, oh yeah, this person's an asshole because of saying this idea, and really just focusing on the idea. What are your thoughts on
there's something like and I can't recall where this is from, but it's something that goes like praise the person but criticize the category.
Okay,
so
I've never heard of that.
It's basically the whole sense of if you're going to be praising someone, let's just say George Orwell or Jocko Willink or something like that, praise the person. Say, yes, this person's great, this is their ideas, this is what's good. And if you're going to criticize someone, criticize categorically across a more broad spectrum. So you wouldn't go, let's say for La Muerte, right, for that book, rather than going, oh, this particular person was just like horrible at writing this. You might say across the category, like, oh, this category of book wasn't the same as like say these other comparables, and these are the reasons why. So it's more I think it's the saying is more so along doing a comparison across the category to showcase why not might be it's great, as opposed to being a direct like hit on the person or the idea itself.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
So I've actually been thinking about this more and more because I wrote that down on my little list a long time ago, and I remember looking into similar things to it, and it was more around if I wanted to tell someone of something that they did bad, like let's just say I'm reading a book or I'm reading someone else's book that they've given me, and they'll be like, oh, I want to get some feedback, but let's just say for some reason I don't want to give them like some really bad, like direct bad feedback because they can't take it. Maybe I'll give them that feedback in a category sense. So I might go, okay, well, let's just say your book is about ownership. Then I might compare it with Jocko's, and I'll go,
oh shit.
Well,
I thought you were gonna say Jocko's book was shit and start talking shit about.
Oh shit.
I mean, you've already said you're gonna order him someday. Jocko, watch out.
One day. But no, so you might, rather than giving them the feedback of like, oh no, this whole chapter shit, you need to improve, you might say something like, in Jocko Willink's Extreme Ownership, he's able to, polarize the fact of this is the story that happens and these are the bad things, this is what you need to do, cover a move or whatever it may be. And I just feel like yours didn't have a similar thing that took me on that journey. So I think that way of giving that feedback, or at least saying like it wasn't up to scratch, is to compare it to something else where you believe at least it is, and then they kind of have a view of, oh, okay, he's like, that's a comparison to this, and I can see also myself why it might be or might not be correct. So I think maybe that might be one technique or play forward.
I think so it was something Tim Ferriss recommended. It wasn't that book he always talks about, Radical Acceptance by Tara Brach. It was sort of like something to do with nonviolence. And I remember just hearing it in one random episode, and he's like saying this was probably one of the best books he had in relation to fixing certain patterns he had with people, and in terms especially of criticizing or giving feedback.
Yes. Yep.
And I think I listened to the audio version of this, which is one of the only things I've listened to
in audio format.
I hate people. If you say you read a book, you can't say I listened to the book immediately afterwards. You either read it or you listen to it.
Yeah.
Bloody Audible is not reading a book.
It's listening to the book.
It's listening to it. Fucking gets me shitted off every time.
It gets your blood going.
Pivot. And anywho, distracted myself there. So I listened to this, and I thought, oh man, there was actually a lot of good techniques in there. It was all sort of what you were just saying, sort of disassociating it from the person. So if they did something, it was not, I really hated what you did here. It's more, framing it in such a way, and it's so simple as well. Like, it's a couple of words, like that thing that happened, which you were connected with or whatever, made me sad, or I felt this after this happened, and not saying like you did it, like it's your fault, even though it might be in a sense. It's just finding, like, using language in a very subtle way to just take the directness that sting when someone is criticizing me, Kyron. Oh, I did something wrong. It's like, oh, something happened that was wrong, that was connected to me. Giving that little bit of space. So I'll try and find what that was by Tim Ferriss. Chuck it on the screen or whatever.
Okay. I like it. My one that I want to talk about as well was, let me just pull it up, the stress inoculation. So exposing yourself to stress so you can be more comfortable in it. So we've talked about this, I think, at length in other places, but it just spun off from a lot of the CrossFit stuff that I've been doing, and then other types of movements. I think the more you inoculate to the stresses of life, whether that's fitness, whether that's mental stress, whether it's, forcing yourself to take on ventures that are hard, I think has the fact of taking on things that are hard bears to mind that it has some sort of meaning behind it, so that it's a good thing to do. But I think the stress inoculation side of things is, I think I sometimes get myself into a pattern where, oh no, this is, I'm safe and happy and it's non-stressful to be doing X, Y, Z. I think one of the examples was, going to CrossFit. I'm just going like, oh wow. I saw that even though I felt in my mind that I was taxing myself in my lifting or my training routine, it's been a complete overhaul in the sense that, oh wow, I wasn't putting myself through these sort of cardiovascular strength or this metcons or this longer endurance type things, and it wasn't even coming in like my running efforts. It was just, it's a different type of, I guess, movement or fitness entirely. So I think inoculating yourself into different modes, different things of occurring. It's one of those things that I'll always go, oh, it's so positive, and then I'll forget about it for a little while because I'll get into a bit of a routine, and then I'll, for some reason, try something else new, and I'll go, oh, this is a reason that I should be trying to inoculate myself in by doing more things, so that at any one time you can be like, okay, I'm good, whatever stress comes along the path.
Do you think there are certain avenues where you shouldn't do that? So would you say like your exercising is at the next level now, or you're digging deeper into places you didn't know you had access to, something like that?
Yeah, I think I'd say it'd be the latter. Digging into somewhere that I'd gone, oh, dang, I never tried or pushed the boundaries there, or wouldn't normally be doing this because of whatever, the way that I train. So, like a direct example, I might do 10 squats, or say 5 sets of 10 squats, and I would do that in 10 minutes and have the recent breaks. But I'd never done it where I do 10 squats and then 6 box jumps and then 10 sit-ups and then do that again and then do some runs and then do some pull-ups and whatever else, like all combined.
Almost no break type of thing.
Yeah, almost no break. We're trying to do it in no break. And so like that differentiates and a little bit different. Then plus you had like timing, you had other people, you had racing. So all these variables, things that I go, oh, okay, well, I haven't really experienced that before. And it completely puts me into like a normally uncomfortable position. And I go, oh, it could be stressful, but I think it's that putting yourself into those and inoculating yourself so that, if for some reason you're, let's just say something that we do just because we're doing it at the moment, it's like running, and all of a sudden it's like, oh no, you have to run the race now and it's against people, or you got to run the race and it's with rain or anything else. That stress input, you're a little bit inoculated because you're like, oh, well, cool, I've done something similar, or I've done something else which was stressful. There's just another thing. Cool, I can go ahead and do that.
Would you say there are avenues where, because you can do that with almost anything that you're doing.
Sure, yeah.
So earning money, you can go, hard, hustling every day, going out to there. If you're trying to improve your social skills, every day I'm going to go out every single night to every bar, and it's not just about time, but being with other intense people as well. So, I hear all these times of, people who want to get really good at handstands, do, go to the places where they are handstanding like beasts.
Yeah.
And then you will learn the pain, what wrist pain
really
actually
takes
means, what it is to get to that level. So are there things in your life in particular that you'd be like, nah, I don't want to take that to the next level?
I think one that's pretty obvious that we've both talked about is sleeping. So I don't think we're going to deal with sleeping. Now, I'm not going to inoculate myself to like, I can do 3 hours sleep, 2 hours sleep. Nah.
But no, so I would say the opposite of what I'm talking about here is, Dave Asprey level of I don't know what you'd call it, like, what is it when you're like really getting frenetic or something, like really focusing on one particular thing? So your sleep, you could go, I'm going to be super strict, 7 hours to the dot. I'm going to make sure my temperature is at this particular temperature and I'm going to make sure that nothing disturbs my, no light in my eyes from X amount of hours beforehand. That's what I would say is more taking it to that level of sleep.
Okay.
So taking your whatever it is to the next level of improvement.
Sure. All right. Okay, I gotcha. I still don't think I do that with sleep though.
Yeah,
I wouldn't get to that level of sleep, but I do appreciate having good sleep, but I wouldn't take it to that level. Yeah. I was going to say though, with this stress inoculation, it's a great tool, and I think yes, you would apply it everywhere. But I would just blankly say that you would apply it everywhere up to a point. So I'd say it's up to the point where then it becomes silly. I know we've talked about this previously, where you're exerting so much energy that your return on investment is just so little that there's no point in doing that. You go and inoculate yourself elsewhere. Yeah, somewhere else.
Yeah, so, I'm finding that with the running. I said to you the other day, I'm spent enough hours now that it's got to the point where yes, I would really love to do a 4-hour marathon, but I'm not willing to invest another 5 months to get it. I'm willing to invest maybe another month, maybe an extra run or two after that month.
Yep.
But not
5 more months.
Yeah, no. Like that's taking away from other stuff.
A lot of other things.
And as much as my ego really wants to be able to say, yeah, I did it. I don't care that enough.
Yeah. Agree.
All right. Okay. Do you want to hit me off with your Triple M?
Mortal moment. Nothing like a fast-paced Metcon to humble yourself with. So if people that don't know what a Metcon is out there, which basically, and if you're a gym goer, it's just like a big giant set with just mixing a couple of different things. So I would say like a Metcon would be 10 deadlifts followed by 10 calorie row and another 10 deadlifts, 10 calorie row. You do that like say for 5 sets, fast as possible. And just see how like absolutely gassed you get. So yeah.
Nice.
Good.
All right, mine is what's your ideas? Or I might just make fun of them. So
hey.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe I should change that to what's your ideas? Or I might just compare them.
Oh yeah.
Who knows? But just some thoughts then on comparing, on criticizing, and potentially how I might do that in the future if I want to do that. So that's it. We've come to another end session of the Musings. Thank you for joining us if you've reached us this far. If you're on the audio, follow, come onto our Instagram. We've got some funny pictures there. You can see us doing cool things. If you're on the video, like, subscribe, all that good stuff.
All the good stuff.
And we will see you for the next one. I don't really have a good outro for this. So
all right, Immortals, one out.
Current out. Oh, yeah.